Beautiful horse manure. So I just wanted to kind of describe what I'm trying here. Again, I'm not an expert. Everything is an experiment. So we had access to a lot of free horse manure in my wife's village, and we can probably get more later. But what I was thinking I was going to do, because it's fresh, so you can't use it as you can't put it directly on the plants right now. It will burn the roots of things that you grow. But it will, if you break it down in a compost pile, it will take about a year, and then you can use it. But I would rather use it sooner. So I also read that if you don't put other compost in it, you just keep it in piles of itself, it only takes 3 to 4 months to break down. And I also read that cardboard also takes about 3 to 4 months to break down. So basically what I'm going to do is have a big square here, rectangle, put a layer of this horse poo down, and then I'm going to put a layer of cardboard on top of that. I'm going to let that sit. Eventually I'll get some soil and things, and I'll plant some things into the soil. And then my hope is that by the time the poo breaks down to a point where it is good for the soil, really good for the soil, it will also be around the same time that the compost is breaking down. So then if I plant something, hopefully if I have enough growing medium, enough soil on top of the cardboard, then by the time the roots get down to the cardboard is getting close to decomposing, and so is the poo, and everything's wonderful. So that's my logic with what I'm trying here. Again, I haven't actually read of this as a method. It just makes sense, so I'm going to give it a shot. So I hope that you're not eating food right now, but I just dumped 3 full bags of this horse manure in a square here. Now I chose this spot for a couple reasons. One is it's pretty close to this stuff I'm starting over here, so I want everything close, so I have this little square here. But I also purposely put it relatively close to some of these trees, these fruit and nut trees, but not right next to them, because I do want to do an experiment later with the trees specifically, getting some mulch around them and then doing kind of permaculture guilds around some of these trees. So I'm giving it some space where I'll grow some stuff in it. Some of the stuff in there will likely become part of the permaculture guilds a bit, but I want to give some space to specifically learn about permaculture guilds also. So I tried to put it close where it can help a little bit, but also far enough away where I can do a separate thing on that later, because for me, each little section is kind of its own unique learning experience. So let's see, I'm just going to go ahead and put cardboard on it, and then I'm going to just do that for today and let it sit here. And then at some point later, I'll just put some, when it's getting close to the time when it's time to plant some stuff, I'll put a good chunk of soil right on top of it and start growing some seeds, or some seedlings maybe, saplings. All right, so is that enough looking at this big pile of poo? That's all I've been showing you. So that's a big pile of poo. So this is all that I'm doing. I'm not worried too much about gaps. I might do a little bit of overlap later with some smaller pieces, but I think some people, when they put on several layers and they overlap, and the main reason for that is to prevent weeds from growing up later. This one, I'm not worried about that so much. I'm expecting this to break down relatively soon. Over the next half year, so that it will break down into the soil. So I'm not doing this to block weeds. Maybe I could, I don't know. But anyway, this is what I'm doing. All right, so after covering this whole thing up with cardboard, covering all of the horse poo, then I grabbed some bags that we just bought. There was just recently what would be literally translated as stick festival, Bang Bang Hui, which is like a farming festival almost, or gardening festival that happens locally here once a year. And we bought soil. We couldn't find, it's hard to find just like the stuff that you'd buy at a regular Home Depot in the US or something, like a potting soil. Instead, it's mountain soil. So it's got a mix of pine needles, a mix of different kinds of mosses and funguses and sticks and all kinds of stuff, tons of leaves, as well as dirt. That's the stuff we can find locally. So it's good. It's good quality stuff. I don't know if that's what I want to plant directly into, but as part of the biology, as part of the mix, I think it will be really good for the soil health. So that's what I've done so far. I'm just going to get some other soil and put it on top, something a little heavier that keeps this down, and then I'm going to mulch on top of that, and this will be a nice little growing medium. And then I'm going to mulch all around these trees as well, so this will blend into its scenery eventually. You won't even notice that it's a unique, special area. And again, the main reason I did this is because we had access to free horse manure, so I thought it'd be good, but it was relatively new, so I knew it would take a while to break down, so covering it with the cardboard would give it the time to break down, and then the cardboard to break down into it, and then all this stuff to mix together some months down, maybe half a year down the road. So that's where we are now. All right, so I think we just need to have about 3 inches, 3 inches thick. So I'm covering the area that was just been working on with horseshoe at the bottom of everything. But I also want to go around these trees. So I'm thinking we can mulch all the way, like extend to the square past the trees, and that'll all be kind of one large space, and we'll start to grow some permaculture guilds, like companion plants that go with each of these fruit trees and nut trees, and then kind of extend circles out from there. And then in the middle there might still be a little bit of space for some other things as well. So that's what we're doing. Just look at this beautiful pile. So kind of zoomed in, I don't know if you can see it so well, but this is mulched now. This whole area, I didn't have enough to kind of go out around all the trees, so we'll have to go back up to the mountains and get some more. But I'm gonna try mulching this one just with corn stalk, because it's been there for a long time. So anyway, and then I tucked in the beds over there. So looking good. No longer worried about stepping on horse poo.